Welcome, everyone. This is Richard Littauer at FOSS Backstage here in Berlin. This is the first time I'm going to try this. I'm having 2 guests on today. It's also the last time I'm going to try this, so don't worry. If it doesn't work, that's fine. We'll have them on another day, another way. But for now, I have Jan Minagawa and Christian Paul, whose arm is cleverly in front of his name tag, and my memory is that of a small goldfish. And they're coming to us today from the Matrix project. So Jan and Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. Hello.
Pretty good. Second day of the FOSS Backstage, and I have been listening to a couple of talks so far, but I'm excited for the remaining ones.
Excellent. I'm going to need you to lean a bit closer and maybe move it between yourself. So I'll try to answer my questions at one of you in the future. So Christian, since the mic is on you right now, tell me a bit about Matrix Project for those of us who don't know.
The Matrix Project is a real-time communication protocol. A protocol meaning you can implement your own server, you can implement your own client. There are a ton of bots and bridges into other protocols, making it just much more useful and kind of like the central hub for all of your communication. In that sense, it has been used a lot for chat so far, meaning there are applications that look a lot like Slack or WhatsApp, where you can chat at work or with friends. That's what it's currently based on. But there is like a whole nother side to it where it kind of like gives you ownership of your data because everything is stored in a room. And your server kind of has a copy of a room at all times. Think of it kind of like email where everybody has their own server that keeps a copy of your conversation, and other people have their own servers and have their own copy of the conversation. And that's basically for chat or for all things real-time communication.
Is this federated, decentralized, distributed, and are there differences between those?
All of it. And excellent. For the purpose of Matrix, I would say there are no differences.
Cool. All right. So and bridges are ways of basically saying when this goes here, it also goes there.
Yeah, that's specifically for bridging into other protocols like
IRC or Slack.
Yeah, okay, those are the popular ones.
Excellent. And Christian, what do you do at Matrix?
I do develop bridges at work for Elements. I also organize a meetup here in Berlin for Matrix together with Jan. We also do a podcast about Matrix.
That's amazing.
At least one. And we're hoping to get another instance of an hopefully annual event, like a small conference talking about Matrix.
And Jan, what do you do?
So as Christian said, I'm also part of the team here in Berlin from the Matrix Salon or from the Matrix Meetups. And I'm also part of the Seabase team, which is a hackerspace here in Berlin. Yeah, and beside that, I'm playing around with Matrix technology now since 3 years. Also working for the company Element. They're more in the organizational project management solution architect level.
Yep.
And working currently a lot with public sector because Matrix is really taking off in the public sector in Germany.
Cool.
Everybody wants it.
Cool.
They don't know how to. So this is my daily work together today is getting Matrix established in the public sector in Germany, from NGOs up to the healthcare organizations like the Gesundheitsministerium, the ministry. They're adapting Matrix as the standard for communication chats in healthcare sector and things like that. So
cool.
There are a lot of things currently going on there.
Okay, so Seabase is a hackerspace that's also an alien spaceship that landed here some years ago and probably been here since the early 1810s. Matrix
landed is a bit
euphemistic.
It crashed. Actually.
It crashed. It's a really cool hackerspace. If you get the chance, definitely go to Seabase. That's with a C as in Caleb, not a C as in the big watery blue wobbly thing. Now, when I think of Berlin and I think of the hackers space and I think of like the scene here, FOSS Backstage comes to mind. Seabase comes to mind first for me because I used to work at Protocol Labs. I used to work on IPFS. And like I've seen Matrix around for years, and I think it's really, really cool. It's a protocol. It's a tool. You just said something that kind of confused me. which he says everyone wants Matrix. I get that Matrix is cool, but I'm biased, right? I think everything that has a black hoodie is cool. Tell me a bit about what's the marketing is. What's the pitch? How are you making people in ministeriums like want to have a protocol implemented? That seems amazing.
So the first question is always you have to ask them, do they want to take the blue pill or the red pill? And if they want to take the blue pill, then I don't need to enlighten them but a lot of people don't like the blue pill these days, and they have an understanding that what happened in the last 25 years with the software industry, locking them in silos, having all this, they see all the beauty, but they are not able to influence it.
Yeah.
And this is something in Germany, we have a good idea about what digitalization can do, but we have no idea how to. And people understand that open source and being the person which controls the communication, but also the software for the communication, and maybe even the protocol, brings them in a position to do so. So they have an idea about this. And then it's an easy pitch to really take a close look at what is their current situation and asking them where do they want to be. And Matrix is about building bridges from where they are at the moment, or if they use some proprietary communication stack, a bunch of different tools, a mix of stuff, some open source, some closed source. And Matrix is really of bringing communication things together in a simple but very powerful and modern, end-to-end encrypted, reliable, resilient. So the federation aspect is really powerful because also in Germany we have this federated idea on a structure level.
Yeah.
And Matrix is actually a protocol which really enables this. So if you think of Git is really good, and you can have your own copy on your laptop, on some central server, on a center, on whatever. So you have a lot of different copies.
Yeah.
And the same applies for the Matrix protocol. So you have storages like in some department or in some company where they work together, and all this, we can make things work what they want to have, but they had no idea that it is technically possible, because they see all the output and they see the central services can do that, but they don't know how they can do it because they don't want to be a central service in the governmental place. And then we come with the technology and say, hey, there is some technology. You can have the beauty of the outcome of central services like a Facebook or a YouTube or whatever, but with a technology stack which is a lot more democratic and a lot more in your local control of what your kingdom is, like in your city or in your department or something like that.
So you're explicitly pitching the security line at them, saying, if you want to be more secure, you can use Matrix because you have ownership of it.
Yeah, so it's not only about security.
Not only, but that is a really good pitch.
It's about control of your infrastructure, of your means of production or means of communication, something like that. So this is more important to them because you can get a secure messenger or you can get a secure file storage in a proprietary manner. You can just buy it. Yeah. That's what they did the last 25 years. Yeah. But they are not happy with it because they cannot control it because it's not theirs. Yeah. So this I'm mostly don't talk about features. I'm talking more about the position or the thing they want to have on a more philosophical or more ownership based thing.
Yeah. Do you ever use the word sovereignty?
What?
Do you ever use the word sovereignty?
Yes, sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Just curious because that word was referenced yesterday by the Munich CTO, I think was the technical title.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely the Digital Sovereign Fund here in Germany where they're trying to invest public funds into open source.
Yeah, we phrase it really easy. We just say own your communication. So this is what it is. It's about ownership of your communication and your communication stack and your communication data and all that.
Excellent. So here's another question I've often wondered about Matrix. Who funds you?
That's an interesting question. So there's the Matrix Foundation or Foundation. You can donate to it. And then there are a couple of companies, and Element is by far the biggest company in terms of creating code. And so a lot of the software of the Matrix project is created by employees of of Element, and Element has customers enterprise customers.
It's
government.
a chat program, right?
It's a stack of
More than that.
So it's a backend for a chat server,
Yeah.
and then you have different clients for mobile and web and desktop.
Yep.
And then you have some specialized components like bots, which do certain things.
It's like Discord, but not just for gamers. I mean, I have a copy here. I just wasn't really sure.
Yeah, so the Element client is like most of the people know Element from the client program.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's a lot more in Element than just the client. So
Cool.
it's also the backend and all the whole stack.
Yeah.
And Element itself is actually so the Element client is the Element client platform.
Yeah.
So there are companies or governments, they build on top, like the Bundesmessenger, for example,
Yep.
or the Bundeswehr messenger. They're different. It's not a fork. It's an interpretation of this is a good client for someone in the public sector in an office or for a soldier. And there are different interpretations of this Element client framework. So people use it for creating chat clients.
Interesting. Cool. Tell me what you're doing here at FOSS Backstage. Did you have a talk?
No, none of us gave a talk here. We're here to basically learn more about open source and like the community around it, as we're community builders kind of ourselves, and trying to connect with people from Berlin, but also from outside. Yeah, and in general, keeping informed, keeping in touch with others.
That makes sense to me. I mean, I'm here for the same reason. So I feel you on that. Tell me a bit about the size of Matrix. How many people do you have on staff per se, or how wide is your general community working on the protocols with you?
So the big number is like there are at the moment something like 80 million
Staff members?
No. Users of Matrix, but some of them, they don't know about it.
Yeah, of course.
Because most of the interesting part, what Christian mentioned in the beginning, is the bridges part.
Yeah.
So when I talk to someone on Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, they have an avatar. So I created an avatar of them in my Matrix network. And there are already 80 million people addressable via Matrix, even if they are not aware of. And then we have a couple of maybe something around 10,000 home servers. So it is not an idea of distribution or decentralized stuff. It is a reality of it. But of course, we have some really big servers like matrix.org is the easy entrance server, but we managed to have a lot of organizations or even just private people that run their own home server. It's quite easy to run a home server for yourself. And then there is, so Element, the company, is something like around 170 people working on a lot of different projects, from the chat stuff to file store to widgets. We have a 3D, we have an answer to this metaverse idea, which comes from a lot of different companies, including Meter. There's an answer, we call it Third Room. It's a decentralized, secure, matrix-based, 3-dimensional virtual reality thing. Yeah, so that's some like rough numbers.
Cool.
We have. What is also interesting on Matrix is there's not only one client like Element. There's something like 5 to 10 productive, production-ready clients. And
Cool.
there are hundreds of different small tools, libraries, all that. Check out matrix.org and see yourself.
And bridges help you work between them anyway. So you also have means of accessing different types of programs through the same protocol from a single entry point.
Yes.
Cool.
Sometimes people ask me, how do you convince people to use Matrix? And
Yeah.
I just figured out on a personal level, I stopped doing it. I was spending 25 years of convincing people to use my chat protocol, like, oh, use this IRC. No, use this ROL instant messenger. Oh, no, use this XMPP stuff. So I was on all these things. Use Telegram. I was convinced that Telegram is a good idea. I don't know, 5 years ago, or Signal or something like that. And I stopped doing it because I solved the problem for myself. So I now have a Matrix client, I have a Matrix home server, and I have bridges in all the different networks. And I think for me, it was important, intrinsically, I want to talk to people. So, and I want to decide myself what is my client. And with Matrix, I brought these two things together. I have my client, and I have different clients for different situations.
You're not the founder, are you? Are you the founder of Matrix?
No.
Okay, cool. This is some of the language I wasn't sure, but that's great. I'm glad you solved it.
But then I can talk to people on, I don't know. I started chatting with people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because it looks for me like just a normal chat, like a WhatsApp chat, a Matrix chat, a Telegram chat. So the problem for me is solved. And now I don't need to convince people anymore about it, but I can show them, hey, this is the way I solved it for myself. And there's maybe something in for you. You can solve the problem for yourself, but we don't need to solve this problem before we can talk. We can just start talking on whatever you decide, what messenger or communication stack you use, we can interface. And I think this is a big advantage on a big level of society, because these big corporations or even smaller corporations, they started to divide our society into silos. And with Matrix is like we can bring them together and solve this problem without harming these silo companies, or maybe a bit.
So I have a pretty abstract question, which may not be answerable, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Germany is wonderful. You have CCC. It's the largest tech conference in the world. It's like really, ground roost level, really cool hackers just working on cool stuff. You have Freifunk. You have internet that you can use. More or less, yeah, but hey, it's there. You have Matrix. Distributed, decentralized, and federated systems seem to do better here than, say, where I live in Vermont, where we can't even get fiber together because we have to talk to telecom. And it's just constantly proprietary networks. And, I'm coming here with an open source hat on, being like, yo, share your stuff. But it doesn't seem to work very well all the time. Do you notice, is there something in the air or the bread, or why does it seem to happen so well here and not elsewhere?
Because we have a good experience 100 years ago with how central services can shape a society in a really not good way for the world. And we are really aware of it. So it is the Second World War and the Nazi centralized system.
And the First World War, to be honest. 100 years ago.
Yeah, but I think the Second World War, so the Nazi dictatorship was a lot bigger impact for the German society.
Yeah.
And after the war, we have recognized that such central systems, even if they feel good, because a lot of Germans were happy in the 30s because the propaganda made them happy.
Sure. Yeah.
We saw where it led to. And this is kind of a DNA in our German society. So when things come too centralized, there is red alarms going on in German heads. So this is why we want to have this federated infrastructure and always want to be a plan B. So it's not, Facebook or Microsoft, they're very successful in Germany.
But
we want to have a plan B. If the central system fails, and then that there should be an alternative.
Okay, so follow-up question. Open source, really great. OSI, safeguarding the OSD. We're all here talking about let's all work in the open. Let's all make things happen. Do you feel like that's centralizing on a single philosophy? Do you feel like maybe open source isn't the only answer? Maybe there are other answers for working collaboratively in the decentralized space?
Not really, because it's kind of like the methodology of working, and it kind of says that, hey, everybody is allowed to be a contributor. We want to enable everybody to build their own community, build their own software, share what they have built and how they have made things better. And in that way, I think it's kind of like, hey, are we looking for a different definition of good, I guess?
Cool. Okay, good.
I have a different answer to it. Actually, I thought a bit about blockchain in the last couple of years.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And it doesn't have a good... so a lot of people think blockchain is the worst thing at the moment. But I have seen with blockchain, it's a technology which makes it... So the reason to run infrastructure for a blockchain project is part of the protocol itself.
Yes.
And I imagine if you do something like that, you would create an internet which only works if you create internet infrastructure.
Yes.
or it gives you a benefit to do so. So maybe if you put a bigger router in your room, then you have better internet and things like that. But with blockchain technology, it is really measurable. And I think one of the big benefits or the great ideas of Bitcoin blockchain was this idea of building in the benefit for creating infrastructure in there. And I think there is something in that idea which also works in open source, but it is not measurable at the moment.
Yeah.
But maybe there is some mechanism which can be an answer to distributed infrastructure, which is not an open source answer, but some mechanism to incentivize creating more distribution or more federation than putting in infrastructure in central services, which is while money is the thing which drives it, it is often a lot more efficient to pool resources together in a central way because you can save costs.
Yeah.
But maybe if there is some incentive which is not cost, but federation is a plus, then maybe there can be something like that in there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in that. Blockchains are not the worst thing in the world. There's a really interesting answer to a particular problem that maybe is over-applied or not. But there's definitely the incentivization for miners and for developers with allocating stake is really cool. And hopefully we can see more of that sort of thing going into our protocols. And hopefully Matrix continues to be awesome and continues to have the space to develop itself. I want to thank both of you so much for coming on. This was super fun. So obviously we can find you on Matrix, but like where, matrix.org, yes, but where do I find you two on the Matrix?
So
now that I've taken the blue pill.
Yeah, so my username is just @jan::datanorton.de. You can find me there.
Cool.
Or there are not a lot of Jans with YAN. You just search and maybe you already in a room with me. So
excellent.
See you there.
Yeah, for myself, currently kind of like between accounts or not sure what to do. So best, I guess, to go to my website. It's CHRPAUL, so Christian Paul, CHRPAUL.de. And there I have my contact information all up to date.
Awesome. Thank you both so much again. This was super cool. Keep it up, and hopefully I should really... No. Yeah, I'm just going to get a Matrix account again. It's just been a while. I should go back and try it. So thank you so much. The best.